All right, away we go here on a Thursday. Trying to get my video hooked in here. It is not working properly, but we'll get it in a second. Got screwed up on the other, had to go to my other computer the last 2 days. I don't know what's going on. My primary. Let me fix this. I know it doesn't look good at the moment. Give me 1 second here. This is really just disappointing. Definitely. I think that could do it. Hold on, everybody. Let's see if that changes the deal. Anyway, quick shout out. Everybody in the chat, how you doing on a Thursday? Summertime chop. Welcome to summer. And, you know, we're here after that day, after basically looking at what we were talking about, which with Bitcoin trying to base out on right after summer solstice here, 21st, 22nd. What are we doing? Right now, I don't like what's going on with this. You're going to have to bear with me here while I fix this. Hence the late start. I don't know what's, I just, that is a, let me fix it. Anyway, while I fix that, there you go. Let's try that one. Take this out of the way. Yeah, it's not coming out. We need to talk about crude oil after the last couple of days. Absolutely have a few things that are, you know, selling off pretty hard, but I think it's something where we want to look at this closely. We're getting to the point where there's going to be an opportunity soon. and probably a big one, probably one that's we haven't seen in a while. So probably one of the best ones we haven't since last year. All right, I think that's a little bit better. My screen's a little screwed up with multiple screens going on, but want to go over Bitcoin, look at the crypto space. We really hashed out Bitcoin last session, the futures, everything. I don't need to spend that much time on it other than if we're looking at daily futures chart, it's doing nothing. We're still just languishing, almost starting to look reminiscent of a month ago. So if something's supposed to happen here after the 21st, 22nd, we would expect at least a small pop, some reaction. Bitcoin's surprisingly just languishing. I mean, it's just really not doing much, taking a lot of time to come out of these zones. There's amplified RSI. I'll bring up standard RSI or HSI. HSI hasn't registered. Something else to consider. And standard RSI, there you go. Looks like these all are going to do their W formations. I mean, look at what's happening here already. That's just standard RSI coming into the oversold. Now forming W formation. It's a complex structure in development where you've got 1, 2, 3, all of that's set up. So what does that mean when we have a complex structure in the indicator? It's going to take more time to come out of that zone, that support off of that level. Also, we need to break out above, we need an RSI reading above 25 on the daily to get that going. So I just think it's, there was a small bounce. Has this been very tradable? Not really. And again, you go to the 4-hour, even the 4-hour time frame. There's some things down here, but it's dud reactions. It's surprising. There's the 4-hour time frame after the long drop, sitting on a 4-hour HSI signal at 20,270, right where we are right now, doing nothing. Again, another situation where you go sideways for 30 bars. You have to ask yourself what is this doing here? It's pausing. Again, a shout out, everybody. Thanks for showing up today on a Thursday, a summer Thursday. Swooping Hawk, David, Snipes, thanks you too. You guys, you three. But David and Snipes, you guys are great. Appreciate the help. Alejandro, Squirrely, everyone else that shows up. I just think you need more time here with Bitcoin. We did not get out of the zone across the board, and this can be a tedious task to sit there and wait for confirmation. But that's what's going on here. Now on the weekly chart, you are trying to do some kind of inflection off of last week's low reading, and that's amplified. And then here's standard RSI, a deep 25.29 on the weekly. If that gives you a W structure, you know how long that's going to take. You're talking weeks. I mean, think of it. Every M or W formation is 4 or 5 points. You need 4 of the 5. So we're here trying to make the first inflection. That still tells me anything that even bounces here remotely is just a reaction. And again, going over everything from Tuesday, pretty clear that we're still in that downtrend of the longer targets lower. Maybe we go maybe we go 30 days sideways, kind of like we did. Go back in last year. We do something like this last summer. This was last summer where we made a similar low on the 21st. There's the 21st. I mean, you had a pattern. You had confirmation. There was a couple big things here we outlined last summer. But I'm still, this is different action here than what we're going through currently. We're sitting right at the hop level after an initial test of 30 days. That there's what's that, the 12th. So here's June 12, 30 calendar days later on the futures chart, at least 30 sessions is probably a couple more. I mean, what are we? 12, 15, yeah, you probably 5 more. Hop level at 19,416. I think that's going to get tagged. It's not really saying much either. It's a tough call, of how low this will go and how soon, but it sure doesn't look good. And it just seems like this will have to trigger something first. It's probably the best way to consider it. And if you're on your weekly time frame, you have to know that you're deeply oversold, where you can't expect much than a reaction if it's going to just stay in that oversold zone for a few more weeks. So Bitcoin, definition of a pause here on the weekly as we try to do something, but we know that's not a place where we want to be taking longs, as it's just kind of stuck in the oversold. Definitely, tough for being a holder. Tough if you're even trying to trade this thing. That's something I feel like it's, I always want opportunity. I always want to be looking for and not be dismissive of possibility here, but it's definitely, I think it's still a waiting game. Even the small trades haven't been that much. I mean, it's going a 5-minute time frame here. You're not even, you're moving 500, 800 points. You're currently looking at a bullish shark right now at about 20,000, and then maybe that goes up to 20,500. But we're just not doing, anything that would be warrant a change in our outlook. If anything, we have the initial peak on the 4-hour, and then from yesterday or 2 days ago, that's as high as we got: 2150, 2250, 2150, 2050, 1950, right? 19.5, sorry. 25, 21.5. Sorry, I got this in the wrong spot. This is just really, see if I can fix this. Let me try this. And hey, I'm getting somewhere. Thanks. But we're still looking for that light switch to go on. I'm not really saying much other than it's a pause here, and we'll consider it at this level. The other coins and Ethereum stuff, they're all stuck. I mean, it's not really too much to look at there. I think Bitcoin, maybe total crypto market cap, but beyond that, if Bitcoin's going to do this and show us this, and not even, I mean, we have a HSI signal on the 4-hour. Normally that would give you a 3,000 point pop. Yeah, you can't see the bottom of the chart. Yeah, I know that. Hold on. This is just driving me nuts. There's a quick question. I'll take a question. Buy me a little time to fix this. If a bullish pattern, fails on under the hop, and one day later it comes up again, how do you handle those patterns? Well, do you have confirmation? I think that's the only thing you need to ask yourself. Do you have confirmation at the hop level or not? Because if you don't have confirmation, we know that the hop can be sloppy, but if it's not there, no confirmation, and the price action fails, well, you're left with, you're not really, there's so much there to deal with. You need the trigger. You need the completion to basically finalize the structural framework, and then you need the confirmation to be kind of the light switch that makes it an actionable opportunity. I mean, the whole thought is using the harmonic structures and the measurements to find those areas where the market goes way beyond or goes too far beyond the natural range that it should. And then utilizing something like relative strength or other divergence measures that identify or like I like to say, locate the actionable opportunity in that zone. A lot of times that is lower. But again, for where we are currently, there's nothing here. I mean, you've got the daily. As I pulled that up, and we just covered this extensively on Tuesday. But your daily is there doing nothing, especially after an initial completion a month ago, which just flatlined. And this is something that does happen on these failures. Normally not, they don't flatline like that. That's not a flat line, that's like a dead line. And then just, drop down 10,000. Flat line at the after hitting 25 and kind of vacillate between 25 and 30,000, 31,000 tops, and then just roll right over. And in those cases, price action's super ugly. If we didn't even have patterns and you were looking at that as a trend, I mean, it would be pretty obvious that that's a massive failure of support, static support. Now we're sitting here again, just how low can you go? This is also where when you have these, let's say you're looking at the daily as your primary time frame, and it fails. Okay, you have to kick up back to the weekly. What's your weekly scenario telling you? That's critical. I don't think anything, it's not really too tricky, but you go back to saying, all right, I've got to go to my larger pivot points. So check that out. Let's just, stay patient here. And again, I mean, I've seen a couple coins move, but they're all reactions. And the other proposition here is, you're dealing with like a penny stock situation. Be aware of that. I mean, this is no longer hodling for the next new tech industry. And I have been saying that crypto is mostly speculation, kind of like the way the options are, or maybe long-term equity options. Similar time of notion, they can have those kind of crazy moves. Go up 500% and then give it all back. That's what's a lot of those smaller coins are doing. And again, all the ones we looked at are still needing probably another month or two before these downtrends can even be violated. I don't, just stay cautious on it, folks. I'm not, you will be the first that I let know that if I feel anything changes, but nothing changes. Nothing, this situation hasn't changed. If anything, it's probably been reinforced by the last 48 hours and the lack of action going into this week. Remember, final note in Bitcoin, because I don't want to kill this to beat it to death, but remember what we talked about of the single bar consideration. Okay, a big flush down bar. And then there's the 50% range at about 23.5. And we're not doing anything. You haven't even bounced 50% of this bar, which says that there is not a lot of demand after last week. There's just not a lot of demand at 20,000. Even as a short-term bounce, dead cat bounce. So it's still lower. Squirrely Crypto's asking for XRP. They're all the same. XRP, I think the government snuffed out, and it really is something. These guys are amazing, but I just think they are trying to bleed XRP and bleed crypto. I didn't think they ever wanted to regulate this. I think they maybe wanted this to happen, and then they could really come in, and then come in with their own crypto. So Bitcoin is the bellwether. Bitcoin is where your real billionaires are. I don't think the Ethereum guys really care. I don't think Vitalik cares if Ethereum is 6,600 or $60. I think these guys are just in it for the programming and the things that they did, and they hit on a technology that somehow circumvents a lot of securities laws and became a digital. I won't say Ponzi scheme. I would just say a basket of digital assets that require a constant refresh of money, much like a lot of financial systems. But these are unique. These are digital, and we've seen how uh, these digital credits. Think of it like that. How easily they can get erased, whether it's through market value or through fraud. The whole Luna thing, and then Celsius. You think it's reputable. You've got people offering accounts and all of that, and then it's gone. Yeah, that's a problem. That is a problem that does not work itself out overnight. And if anything, I expect eventually the government will come in here and screw it up more. But if we want to just assess long-term trend on Bitcoin as the primary indicator of all crypto, which it is, and probably has the most singular support, you got to see this thing do something. And if our target is 11.5, which it still is, and you're trading 20,200 after dropping 30% last week or 2 weeks, and there's no reaction, I would be a little nervous. And it could sit there for a week, or maybe this could go just pause till the end of the month and be a dud and just do nothing while the next round of liquidations. Or I got to think a lot of people are super nervous that are close to a liquidation. We've seen a few of these firms get liquidated. They can, they could hold on, but every $1,000 lower, under 20,000, I think every $1,000 matters. So keep that in mind. Also, we are Thursday of the week. It's doing nothing. It could be very much like one of these small candles here. And again, you could pause for a couple of weeks. We're in the dead of summer. People maybe try to think this is a bargain who don't know harmonics or don't look at charts. I don't know how anyone could think that this is an opportunity, especially with the metrics that we have shown. But this is just, you can't even get above the close from last week. And I said that is essential of being some kind of indicator of how much can this bounce. And you're not above the close, that there's just, if something comes into play, you could be flushed down back to 17 pretty easily. I do think we'll come back down there. I just think it'll be more of one of these kind of sideways liquidations where you just slide, and then down move. Sorry, bring that back up. Like this beautiful HSI that did yield a 2-bar reaction, but that was it for about 10%, just up and then back down, and now sideways. Now it does mean something, the fact that it's holding that HSI trigger point at 20,550. Okay, but it's not doing anything. And again, take this one and take a screenshot, as long as my screen looks half decent. And that is a harmonic failure in development. That is the definition of no reaction, and being where you are at a hop level, 19,400 on the futures chart will get hit maybe tomorrow. So let's see. We've got a few more hours. What's up? Mitch Ray's in the chat. Hey, Mitch. How's everything going? Thirsty Thursday. No bids, John Travolta levels. I agree. Ziggy says 2.25 billion worth of options expire tomorrow on Bitcoin. Maybe. I just think, even from a technical standpoint, you have to go retest the lows, maybe even flush out the lows. So that's a good comment, though. And I always, you can always offer that kind of knowledge up and that information up. I think that helps everybody to know, what kind of size and what the options are doing. The options have been devastating for Bitcoin ever since they brought that in. Look what's happened. They've been able to really handle the market, and I mean manage it, paint it. Oh, you had a thirsty Wednesday last night, did you? I've been busy. I'm sorry. I've been trying to check in with your stream. I've just been busy, but that's cool. Maybe next week, man. Next week. Okay. Apparently, Mitch had quite a stream last night. I'll have to go look at the recording. I couldn't check it last night, but I will. Anyway, that's that. Listen, we know the deal. Look at crypto. Look at what I've said, everything we've said on Bitcoin. Again, I'm going to bring it down, crypto, to just a Bitcoin argument. And until that changes, and I really think that this is where we need to focus for crypto, you have to look for signs of life in Bitcoin. Otherwise, you're going to be penny stock chasing other alts, and that's it. It's not a good place to be, especially if you've already given back money in this crypto market, like I have. A lot of people have, had to give some back, but no problem. I mean, we've been pretty clear since April. Let's go really quick. I want to look at let's look at Nasdaq. Talk about something that's fairly interesting right now. Doing a dud reaction. I really think Nasdaq can try to pop up out of this hole for a little bit. Maybe rally a little bit next week. Here is a pattern I posted. Was that this morning? And then with an update where essentially 11,711 to 11,745 on my Twitter feed. That was our target for today, and then it's kicking and it's rolling. There was no confirmation there until a little bit higher on amplified, and HSI literally came in here and just kissed it. I don't think it officially registered, though. A really tough call, but look at my Twitter feed, folks, and again, I would be concerned about a pattern like this on the hourly coming off the low. No response. Here's the zone and a real ideal type 1. And that took us from basically yesterday into today. And then a secondary retest up to this 11.7. Remember the weekly levels, the failed support is 11.848. So this should be a situation where the prior support of the crab becomes resistance. Let me remove this ABCD because that's not what I want to deal with yet. I want to isolate the crab. There you go. So, 1 second. Bear with me. Here it is. Okay, thanks. Here's another situation, a real sloppy crab pattern. Bring this back up. And we triggered an HSI 3 days ago on the daily, but this is well below the hop, and we know that this is a ugly situation where under 11,100, it's not even 11,000, it's under 11,100. This thing is in trouble. Also, I mean, ready for another continuation. Let's just be specific. Also, you are in another 30-bar count after this disaster of a reaction. I mean, there's your initial test at the end of April with a no-go move and sideways to down the whole spring. Now we're at summer. Summer started into summer trading, and what's it doing? Floundering. It's not like the summertime is going to come in here and bring in a lot of buyers with fresh new money. So think about that, where we could be in a dud market on stuff like the tech stocks, where they're going to take their time and Again, don't feel like you have to rush into anything. If anything, we're still looking for the lower levels. We're still looking for the breakdown. And I don't, we're defaulting back to our weekly scenario. Weekly scenario, again, is uh, full. We're at the 50 level, essentially here, and then 886 at 7,800, 7,900. I mentioned that we could pause, do something like this. Go into, hold on. Come up, something. Like this would be a little B point and then come back down to 7,800. I still think so. It's either that or we just fall apart because this is a 382. Looks like this. Here's your spread on the weekly. And again, most of the charts, most of the major markets and major stocks are all about their weekly time frames. So there's the 50 level that was triggered 2-3 weeks ago at 11,733. Just a pause, but we failed. And again, you take out each week's low, your inability to even do anything this week. Here we are Thursday. Are we rebounding? No, we're just doing an inside week, inside bar of this. We're to check back. 11,575 is where that HSI trigger comes in. And this 1 bar range defines what will happen going forward into the summer. The second you fail last week's low, it's done. I mean, it's just done. And I don't, again, lackluster buying. There's no, it's just lackluster across the board. So, I think it can be a tough spot when you're in the middle of these type of environments and you're looking for action that just fizzles and fizzles. You have to pull back a little bit from that. It's frustrating, but that's where we are. I mean, I again check the Twitter feed because we posted those charts, and I thought we could get some move off of this bat pattern and get a little bit, maybe rally up a little bit today. Maybe 11,745 up to the terminal bar. We just got shy of that, but we're now clearly, I mean, the way that we have fallen off, maybe it was good old John Jerome Powell, but this is now in a full type 2 with target 2 at 11,327. That's 250 lower from current levels, but that's done. I would look at a target 1 today, 11,487. That's 100 lower. But that's an ugly pattern. That is an ugly pattern for something that has already fallen viciously in the last 2 weeks. And again, I thought maybe we could get to the hop level, but not with that. That's a full-on rejection. And you're about to do a 3-bar reversal. A little bit lower. And who doesn't want to sell now? Right? I mean, is there a reason to buy anything new? No. There's no reason. It's a shame. Bear with me. Let me just do one thing here. Really quick, I want to look at S&P. See if I can fix this. Again, I'm going to be fix that resolution issue. Yesterday daily bar for the S&P ES futures, a check back since it's retraced 72% on the daily time frame. Hold on, let me get this over a little bit. No, when we talk about checkbacks, we want a trigger, okay? This did not get all the way down there. You do have HSI there off that deep crab. Let me remove the potential here. Just want to isolate the completed pattern. There you go. So again, terminal bar. This is your zone for the deep crab on the S&P 500. That triggered completed terminal bar last week on the 13th. Now, HSI came in on Tuesday's close, which is ideal, and that's the sequence. We want terminal bar and we want the confirmation value of the triangle. Pink triangle is HSI. That's where that comes out. But then we look for the check back, which still seems to me the fact that this can't do anything off the zone. We will get a check back maybe tomorrow, maybe Monday, 3660 on the S&P. This check back of that bar. Yeah, it's 3660 is that 2-day. So it's not a full check back. Thank you, Snipes. That's a perfect comment. The sun icon, that's what this is. Okay, when you see that, oh, what happened? Okay, let me go back here. When you see that develop, that's where you know the pattern completes. But then we want to see this arrow and mark the bottom of that bar. If it's bullish, if it was bearish, we'd mark the top end. That then locates where the trade, the actionability of the trade really takes shape, and how we kind of break down the risk reward within the zone. Because it's a wide zone. 1618 is at 37.75. The hop level is at 35.46. Where do I know to take this trade? And it's a daily chart. We're going to favor where the confirmation happens. That's there. 36.60 was our first sign 2 days ago. But now we're going to come back and do a little more consolidation. So probably here is a situation where you're 5-7 bars in the zone. Yeah, I like that. Swooping Hawk says you want to trade in the rays of the sun. I like that. That's a good way to think about it, because look, we're waiting for that to be generated. That's how you know you're early. If you see the sun, okay, think of it like, yeah, it's like a sunrise, whatever. It's just starting to come out. So it's going to take at whatever the time frame, 3 to 5 bars. In this case, it's daily, 3 to 5 days. And then you can look at that. I mean, really within that general zone, that's a great way to think about it. But the confirmation says maybe even a little bit lower. Scott's asking, what does it mean on the daily RSI amp if it rose out of the overbought in a simple V versus the complex? This is daily. These are futures daily. And again, we have 2 of the 3 that have triggered. We didn't get RSI. I mean, let's just look at the individual indicator readings. There's RSI on the S&P. Okay, did not register on the oversold. Here's RSI on our amplified proprietary indicator. This is going to show you more signals. I talked about that on Tuesday. The amplified, the way that was designed is to be an RSI indicator that can show you if it's M or W in that extreme. Why? Because the M or W, if we get that all in the extreme, we know it's going to take more time and likely be retested. Yep. Costco executive member says a lot of rising wedges into resistance. Yeah, easy top fish for trades for bears. I agree. This isn't a perfect W formation because your 3 points here are not, you need all 3 in the oversold. So that would be more like a double impulsive, a W simple bullish divergence. It's not great, but at least there's something there. If we had all 3, including HSI, which is this one, okay, HSI is just coming out. We looked at this last week and it was deeply oversold, just like Bitcoin, and many of them on a weekly. A lot of the weekly charts are still in the oversold. Bitcoin's a weekly is at 25 or 26 on RSI. So that means it's going to take more time. And if we have this signal, which we do, we're consolidating in this tight zone. And the likely move is to check back, to retest where the trigger is, that if this crab is going to give us something, even like a summer rally, I can't even believe I said those 2 words, but if it's going to be a summer rally, we're going to have to come back one more time and retest this support level. So no major longs, really no major longs. It looks like it's selling off. What happened on the 5-minute here? Sorry, let me look at the 5-minute this morning. Did that run into... I'm going to look at this, but we do have a crab pattern. Again, here's a crab pattern from this morning, which got it going, but even this is done. I mean, that's one of those looping type 1s. Goes up, and then comes right back down. It was 37.35. I mean, that's 20 lower from current levels. So if you folks are, if you guys are futures traders, if you're hitting NASDAQ or S&P, I would be looking for this lower into the close. One way to do that is pull up like a 30-second or 20-second chart. Look for patterns inside of that. Here's a little something, little tip for everybody. If you're not looking at these micro time frames, they do help for day trading. I look at them every day. There's a 20-second little bat pattern on S&P at 53. So maybe we come up. We'll keep an eye on this, but maybe we'll go from 53 up to target 1, but that would be about it. Because your 5-minute time frame and these other patterns here from this morning, yeah, you're going to have to retest. Again, more ugly action. 1-minute shark, Pete says. Let's see that. 1-minute shark pattern, Pete's saying. Listen, for day trading time frames, I'll look at the standard 5-minute, but I like the 20 or 30-second time frame. I don't have a shark. I gotta make sure my shark's, yeah, I've got my shark selected. I'll have to look at that. But the other time frame that I think is helpful, especially for the patterns, is a 233 tick. So if you're not looking at 233 tick, check that out. If I can get this to populate here. This is slow. I don't know what's been going on my side here lately. System's been very slow. 233 tick, there you go. All right, couple patterns. Look what happened this morning. Let's just circle the last several patterns. Okay, this is from, let's see, that's not even 9:30. Where's 9:30? It's like right there. Had a little bat pattern. This is S&P. But you did have after the open, look, alternate bat for a type 1 from basically 68 to 80 or 04 was target 2. I mean, let me blow this up. This is a 233 tick. Nice one. I mean, perfect confirmation, and then you're looking for that zone as a day trade. That's it. That's, I think, the thing people forget is that they get into day trading and they get something and they try to stay with it. You have to be aggressively popping off your position. You never want to sit too long. 233 tick, here you go. Same type 1, back down, up for type 2. Did that get down there? It's really close. Yeah, that's a type 2 and a secondary move. So a lot of patterns. Look, if you're looking for day trading opportunities, and it's probably a good way to go in all of this summer slop, is to pull up like a 233 tick. Be aware of what's going on a 5-minute, but your day trading aspect of being in and out is, you're literally looking for trades for 10 minutes to 30 minutes. I mean, here's one on the 233 tick. It's sloppy, but hop level around 37.53 is trying to hold. You probably not taking a third shot on this, but something like this where you're at your hop with HSI, that's definitely one of the best positions you can have in all of any pattern time frame. You're at a hop level if it's a bat or a crab pattern, and you have confirmation of big fat arrow right there. It's not going to take much in terms of risk, and usually have a good turnaround once you bust out of the hop level to go up to target 1. So you're going from 53 to 62, but that's your limit. In this case, you pop from 53 to 59, but then you just stall out for the better part of 2-3 minutes. You're scalping. You're scalping. You have to be in the mindset to be day trading. There's lots of opportunities, but the number one problem with it is people don't take the profits, they don't take the losses, and they sit on their hands. And you cannot do that if you're gonna get into that day trading, which I think you should. If you're not looking at it, you could learn a heck of a lot. One or two more. Let's get to the energy situation because it has fallen off. We've been looking for that correction. And how far is this going down? Crude oil, again today, taking a hit. And I think we're close. I really think we're going to get close here to an opportunity. It might be all the way back down at this crab pattern at around $92, believe it or not. Let's look for that. And again, this is the pullback off of the current level. The daily chart, the weekly numbers are all coming off of just all-time 886s. The 886 at 125 is the big number on the weekly. That's, and you have a higher low there, and all-time, that's where this 886 comes in. Your 886 all-time from there, high to low. Let me do it right here. So that's your all-time 886. That's going back almost 15 years. 125.29 to be exact. And if that is an 886, so we're talking daily, looks like 92, as low as 92. I would not be surprised to see this. Not a 50, something like this. A 382. Let's say something happens. 236. No, 236, not 382. 236 is about 85, 88. And look at the daily again. So we still have a ways to come down on this, but I really don't think it's going to be like gold. Gold did a big move up, hit some patterns, went sideways. We have this butterfly. That's what we were looking at last week, and USO chart was much the same way. You're at target 2, and you still haven't confirmed yet. Look at HSI. HSI is now hitting that. So on Monday, we talked about this, and it didn't register. Today, it's registering. Look at the reading. It's 10.66 right now. Under 11.3 is definition of oversold on HSI. So take this into Monday. But if we can pivot out, hit today, close, you kind of want an ugly close. You want this thing to close under 104. And take a look at amplified RSI. That's now deeply oversold, but look at this relationship for crude oil. You have a complex structure there. W, we can all agree that's a W. Now we're retesting after going up above your minimum 50 line. That's an RSI BAM setup where you have 2 readings, and that second reading needs to close and pivot above that prior, which it probably will, and correspond with a pattern or major retracement in the same way it did up here. Look, I'll go back to the price chart in a second, but there's your big WM formation for bearish. It goes to the 50 line, your red line goes on, and here's the secondary retest. And look at that in June. So now let's look at the price point in June matched up with that pattern. We highlighted many of these metrics of why this was probably a pullback here, but that's all I think it is. The longer term, the daily, the weekly charts are almost oversold to the point where you're going to get, if you're looking at weekly, you come down a little bit more. Weekly's almost going to hit probably next week. Probably next week. It's been a heck of a move. I'm not surprised to see this thing come back now, take more time up at the 886, and then maybe come this fall. That's where you are within that whole thing. It's just, needing to come out, letting air out of the tire. It's one of the few remaining sectors that still managed to be up. But, we'll get more opportunities. The same deal goes with for nat gas. And again, nat gas came before crude oil and USO and the other ones where 9 on the top side and hold on, and 6 on the downside. There you go. You're almost at 6 today. The daily chart, there's your crab pattern. Check this out. Oh, we got a shark developing right now right at 6. But where's my, hold on, where's the bearish pattern? Let me 1 second. Huh. Oh, I had it on the TradingView platform. Let me come back to that. Oh, I know it's on the, let's look at the ETF UNG, because that's at almost at some targets too. There you go. On the UNG, that's a beauty. That's a type 1 reaction. Beautiful weekly crab pattern. We talked about that not long ago, end of May, just 2 weeks ago, as this was hitting around 30, 33, looking for the pullback to 23. We're now 21. We could go as low as 18 and be fine. Nothing yet on HSI or either one on the weekly, but that's a heck of a pattern. I wouldn't be surprised to see this thing come down and come down on the target one. Probably 18 is the number for UNG, which matches with the $6 level that I've been talking about for nat gas. And then this situation will stabilize. Daily time frame looks like this. Fairly ugly. Same pattern. Probably even better detail. Slightly grabbing off a slightly different high. But you're going to fall under this 2186 you did today and register an HSI somewhere between 18 and 21. Think of it that way. Here's HSI coming down, successive pattern, lower highs. We'll probably do that next week. And we start looking. I mean, it's, again, they're getting beat up as they need to. Things like Chevron, Exxon, XLE. Let this air out of the tire, and then we'll target under 20 for UNG and some of these energy stocks. But that might be into the end of the month. UNG is a type 2. Is it really? Did we get to type 1? We didn't get to target 1. We're hitting target 1 today. I think that, on the TradingView platform, which let me see if I can pull that up. Can I get that, please? Hold on. Bear with me. Let me see if I can get that. Hold on. No. I don't know why that's not coming up. It bothers me. Type 2 and return. Yes, it would set up for the type 2 return. I just cannot get this today, so my apologies. I have to come back to this. That, and wanted to show a couple of, here's XOM, ExxonMobil, which I think is a great one to be following. There, same deal. Okay, big crab pattern. Until that gives us an HSI on the downside, that's all we're waiting for. That reaction's almost over. There you are. You're sitting in the zone on the weekly. Take a look at HSI. This is ExxonMobil. Sorry, daily chart for ExxonMobil. So 2 days ago, it bottomed out on the indicator. Could be popping up pretty soon. We need to get that out. Look, the reading is 2.65 on the daily. You need to get above 11.3, maybe tomorrow, maybe next week. And use target 2. Use this level 2 here. because that has all of the characteristics of a reaction. Certainly comes down like this. Oh, get back here. There you go. We will ride that. 87.45 is a minimum number. We want to be certainly buying underneath there after we get the trigger. And we'll get this to come down, trigger, and then start the return move. Probably this fall. Probably maybe start in another week or two and then make a run at it before the fall. Summer's going to be interesting. I really do. I think it's going to be light trading, but the framework is going to be the same way. And energy with this correction is a big opportunity, so don't dismiss it. I really expect crude oil eventually to be above all-time new highs. If it's not by the end of the year, it's some point next year. Right, something miraculous would have to happen. I just think we're pausing, reacting off the all-time 886. But they've been great. Look, we've been on UNG since 12 or 14. So we're going to continue with that and stay on these. I mean, we're seeing at least movement, which I feel is good. I mean, I really, this is a little bit different than a lot of tech stocks that aren't doing much, that are just going sideways. Things like Apple, Microsoft, they're really not moving the way they should in terms of being a vigorous turnaround or any kind of substantial price action. I did mention gold, since we haven't looked at that in a while. I just wanted to show this because it's still sitting a similar situation, sitting at a major level. Go to deep crab, and now we have a bat pattern that completed last month, but we're doing the retest. So there's a deep crab at 2068, and it's in a full type 1 move. Got down to 1831. 1831 was a big number for us. Was the minimum target too. Now, okay, we have a bat that is stabilizing right at 1800. Your 886 is 1790. That's already been hit. And you're still in a type 1 because you never got up to target 1. Keep an eye on this. Again, this is probably going to hold its head. I don't expect much out of gold, even though there's a lot of talk. Even in the face of raising all these rates, gold is 20% off its all-time high. That's nothing for the amount that they've raised rates, you would think. So 1800, 1790, that's the big next retest, where once you get that, then maybe gold could make a run back up to the 2068 level for a type 2. Gold's just a slow mover. And again, we're going sideways for 30 days, but we'll get a trigger soon on gold. I know a lot of people are looking at that. It's probably manipulated, preventable, but manipulated. There was, what was it, the Nugget or GLD? Let me look at GLD first. There you go. GLD, same deal. Daily ABCD pattern. After your bearish, you had a bearish crab up there. Let me take off that other. Take that away. So nice little ABCD on the GLD SPY right off the top. It hasn't really triggered anything yet. Nothing on RSI, nothing on Amplified, nothing on HSI. So just keep an eye on it. Sideways from a month between 168 and 172, 173. I think we could come back under to this 168, 167 level one more time and try to trigger something there. A lot of gold bugs, they want gold to go because inflation is so pumped. And it's funny because you look at people that have been gold bugs for decades, and if gold's not going to explode now, then their narrative is toast. Give it another 2 years when all this stuff does eventually settle down, and it could be something like that. But if gold isn't blowing out all-time new highs as you print close to double-digit inflation, then when is it going to move? Maybe that's overbought. I don't know. Here's the weekly. We do have a bearish pattern up here. Okay. Go to, let me get you the bearish pattern. Looks like this. And there's the bat pattern. And that's a weekly chart for gold. Type 1 reaction. This is on GLD at 170.95. And if we come back up and retest that 886, maybe 190, that could be it. So take a look at a lot of the long-term charts. They are giving a really clear idea of where you are within this picture. It is a crazy market environment, and so certain sectors should be doing things. Interest rates should continue to spike if inflation is going to continue to go. Crude oil, it's coming off now, but if it's going to continue, this should only be a reaction. Gold should not only hold here, okay, but it needs to start going up. So this is where the charts are saying one thing, narrative is saying something else. We need to pay close attention. How do precious metals get a move while JP Morgan and JP Diamond is so heavily handed in suppressing the price? The stories I could share with you folks, and I only know a few of what goes on. And especially when it used to be open outcry, yeah, there was a lot of that going on. I just don't think you can get as hyped about it as people do. Maybe, yes, store of value and you're still going to fluctuate plus minus 20%. But I really am coming to more of the longer term thought on stocks and all of this stuff that the companies that, if you want to be a long-term investor in companies and not a trader, that company better make something. It better make a product and be able to sell lots of those products without too much interference with, say, international manufacturing, supply chain issues. Something like Coca-Cola that's a prime example of something that can be produced pretty much anywhere and will always sell, even though whatever you think about Coca-Cola, look, they're going to sell lots of products, lots of units, versus a tech hype, tech concept, not only crypto, but a lot of the ones that came out with all these snowflake softwares and Palantirs of the world that have lost 80%, 90% of their value. Quick question. I'm going to wrap up here in a minute, but how do I get my RSI extended? I don't know what you mean by that. What do you mean by the RSI extended? The RSI, what we're waiting on is RSI to do its thing, at least come out of the zone. If that's what you mean by extended, like getting out, NASDAQ, Bitcoin, crypto in general. I mean, RSI is deeply oversold, and sometimes as that stays lower, it's worse, it's not better. Can I look at the 6-month candles on the index, on the indices? And it's a massive 3-bar reversal? You mean not annual, but 6-month candles, Ziggy? On, say, what, the SPY or industrials? Let's look at the industrials. So what Ziggy is saying is he wants to look at the biannual candles. So not annual, it's every 6 months, which we can do. So here's, how about every 3 months? I could bring up every 6 months, but let's just look at every quarter. That's going to be a quarterly, of course. We could look at quarterly too. Yeah, so the comment, and again, quarterly is fine. One of the things we look at and definitely respect is a 3-bar reversal. Okay, so when we're in an uptrend and we take out the prior 3 bars and close below, so on a quarterly chart, if you will, for the Dow, the prior 3-bar range, the lowest candle is 32,000. So unless something happens, it's magical next week, and unless we rally like 2,000 points, which is probably not going to happen, we will close below there. The trick is what follows that, because at that point you have to go into immediate continuation, and that works for intraday as well as long term. What we're looking at is quarterly. If this is a real serious bad negative quarter that starts off more negative quarters, well, it would have to continue from here and straight off. One of the things that I say frequently is like a serial reversal, meaning bar over bar. It would have to do that, and it would have to do it immediately. So I think that's, definitely a great comment. It's something to consider. It would look something like this, where your small little candles would then have to follow from here. Like that. Like next month be another one. And follow through. Every high is not violated and you form a new low. Much like you did back here on the COVID move, it's really tight, but it works. And if you can, it's kind of like connecting the dots with the patterns. If you can do it, you need to respect it. If you can connect the dots to get a pattern, you've got a pattern. You've got to pay attention to those levels. If you can see a 3-bar close, a close below the 3-bar low, like you did at the COVID, back 2008. You didn't do it in COVID. But there's 2008 3-bar. Okay. 1, 2, 3, or 1, 2, 3, and then you close below that, or 1, 2, 3, especially there, and then you get the follow through. So it has to continue. You do that. I think a quarterly, 6-month might be. I mean, you look at the history here. It's rare to get that 3-bar. There's COVID low. That was a 3-bar, but there was no continuation, and you really shouldn't even come back and challenge that 3-bar move. Once that happens, it needs to just drop off. That's what we'll look for into next week. Next week will be so critical for crypto and the major indices that if we just waffle here for the next couple of days, which we're doing now, and it looks like I see NASDAQ is now only up 30 after being up 200. Got totally rejected off of that 11.7, now trading 11.575. We want to watch that. Another dead cat bounce, no follow through. So, boy, that is by tomorrow. If we close bearish again, have another ugly Friday, then this pattern that completed today on the hourly, it looks like this. Go here. There's NASDAQ. Go to the hourly. And that's a 3-bar on your quarterly. But look, if this bat pattern ends up being, that's it, you can look at 11,327 by Monday. If not tomorrow, something's up. Something's up. I really would. And look at the last there. Look at the last 2 weeks here. Last 2 weeks of action since the first initial bottoming point. You're just sideways with a bearish bat pattern that I think 11,327 is probably not only probable, but likely with a full retest of the lows at 11,000. It's certainly not doing anything, and it hadn't had its chance. I think in the last couple of days it had its chance to do something big, and just doing nothing. It not even taking out the initial dead cat bounce. Be aware of this kind of stuff, because sometimes in these sleepy markets, they can lead to even bigger opportunities than in your roaring best of times. Like this might end up being a fairly substantial continuation. I'm looking for this to do some kind of recovery into the end of the month. I mean, this is the last chart. We started here. Here, it's like this. And this is the same on crypto. If your monthly chart does not come off of the recent lows, there's the monthly chart. And here we go into a pattern of lower highs for sure, and slightly lower lows each month. But the fact that we're just falling into these lower highs looks like that. There's not much there. And look, all-time 50% level is 11,733 off of the COVID low. That's your 2-year. So you start violating that and closing under that, then you're going to keep sliding. No inflection, no nothing there. That's what we'll come back with on Monday, folks. Again, appreciate the patience on the video. We'll get that fixed. Go over to Harmonic Trader. Folks, please, the place to do is just sign up for the basic membership. Someone was asking about the gold and silver. Get the basic membership first. All the instructions are there. Get set up with the software, and then contact me to subscribe. I've made some updates. I've added a few notes, a new market report, a new 3 ideas, and a couple more things will be happening. So those are kind of our premium content. Those that really focus on ideas that I will not talk about in these sessions. Maybe bring up one of them in a while, but so check that out. But after you've taken the trials and taken advantage of those free resources. So guys, have a great weekend. We'll catch you on Monday. Until then, as always, go get them. We'll see you then.